How's it going, folks? Welcome back to the Nightmare Cabin. Sorry things have gone a bit slow lately, but we're going to be catching up this week. So, yeah, album reviews. Let's get on with it. So, yeah, long overdue this one. This is the new album, of course, from Exhorder. Let's take the booklet out so it doesn't have the reflection. And this is... What is this album called, actually? It's got Defectum Omnium. Defectum Omnium. There you go. I didn't even know what the album was called. I've just been listening to it. So I looked at the album cover and went, yep, that's Exhorder, and just put it on. And that's the first time I've said it out loud. So yeah, let's get into it. This is I've got to admit, I was apprehensive about Exhorder's last album, but I think I was just jaded at that point. And I remember saying at the time, quite a few people were reforming or rebooting, however you want to put it, and I was a little bit, I don't know. But a string of albums came out where it was like the first album in a long time. So Exhorder was one. There was Acid Rain, of course. There was quite a few examples, but I can't think of any now. But I was thinking, yeah, I need to get over this whole jaded thing I've got because I'm constantly being proven wrong. I'm thinking, this ain't going to be no good. They're not going to recapture the energy from this time or that time. And the albums that were coming out were really good. Let's have a look at here we go. So, I'll give you a brief rundown of I got Exhorder, this CD by them, ages ago. Long time ago. I'd never even heard of them, but a friend of mine was saying, oh yeah, Exhorder are the bands that Pantera nicked their sound from. And I've got this double CD. Roadrunner put out a load of these around the early 2000s. It was like I've got quite a few. And they were going cheap at the time as well. I bought a bunch of them from a record shop that was closing down, and the internet, they were on Amazon and that, they were easy to find. This is worth a bomb now. The same with the Suffocation one, which has got Effigy of the Forgotten and Pierce from Within. But yeah, there's a whole series of these, and they're all worth like a load of money now. So yeah, Exhorder put out, they reformed, I think they reformed on and off a couple of times, but yeah, they put out Mourn the Southern Skies. When was this? 2017? No, 2019. And I saw Exhorder at the Underworld in London, and I've been going to gigs since I was 16, basically since I was old enough to travel to London and go to gigs. And that was one of the best gigs I have ever been to. It was awesome. And yeah, the band signed both my CDs. Now, I was a little apprehensive with this new album because Carl Thomas now is the only original member. And, you know, with Vinny Labella no longer in the band, I thought his guitars were just as distinctive and, what's the word? As important to Exhorder's sound as Carl was. You know, they were the original two, and yeah, I was a little bit... But then again, I was also pretty curious because obviously Pat O'Brien from Cannibal Corpse is now in the band. So you got the band have gone from a 5-piece to Kyle going from just the front man to coming out playing guitar with Pat O'Brien on second guitar. So from going from like a front man to just guitarist's vocalist seemed a bit odd to me because I mean, for all I know, Carl's a great guitar player. You can't play these songs and be bad, and but yeah, Alabama Thunder Pussy, Trouble. I've never seen him playing guitar before, so I was a bit okay. And obviously Pat's going to be taking care of all the lead work, but I was just I don't know, didn't something about it weren't quite. And anyway, Vinny Labella's turning up on podcasts now, and he's telling the story about the split, and obviously I'm not going to take sides because it's fuck all to do with me, but I don't know them. But I don't know. I just was a little bit. I was a bit bummed out that Vinny wasn't in the band anymore. And but on the other hand, if I didn't listen to albums because they've got one, you know, the band's got one sole original member, well, most of my CD collection would be out the window. So, you know, I wasn't not going to listen to it, of course, but I was just a little bit not sure what to expect here. And it's a pleasant, yeah, it's a really good album. It's pleasant surprise. And yes, again, I was proven wrong. But I would say this. A lot of people, all of a sudden now, I'm hearing people complain that they didn't like Mourn the Southern Skies because it was kind of groovy and slow, and it was like a southern. He had a lot of southern. I don't know what to say. Southern rock, southern. I don't know. But Defectum Omnium is just as varied and just as there's just as much doom and groove and slower parts on this than there was on this one. So I don't get where the objection comes from. And none of that. I didn't hear anyone complaining at the time. So let's turn this off. So hold up. Is that better? It's kind of. Yeah. I didn't hear anyone complaining about it at the time. And I've had a re-listen as well. No, I like this album just as much. And yeah, this is still very much in the vein of Exhorder, but obviously it's not got that vinny flavour. But what has been replaced is just as good. What's in his place is just as good. This is just as good an album. And apparently he's working with Kirk from Crowbar on a solo album, of Kirk's solo album. I can't forget his can't remember his surname off the top of my head. And I think he's working on another project as well, so I'll follow that as usual. My initial thing was, have they just got a record deal that they need to fulfill, and Carl's just, completing the record deal. But either way, it doesn't matter. Let's just review this on its own merit. And yeah, so musically speaking, I think it is very much a follow-on from. Let's get that camera to focus. It's made it even worse. Let's go forward. There we go. Right. It is a follow-on from Mourn the Southern Skies, definitely. I think so anyway. I mean, there was just as much difference between Slaughter and the Vatican and the Law, really. So the band have always sort of evolved, and they've never, quite made the same album twice. But the hype around this is, the last album was kind of southern and kind of bluesy and doomy, and this is going to be a thrash metal return to form. This is going to be, it's all shredding non-stop and Pat O'Brien's all over. It's like, no, it's not like that at all. I mean, there's just as much, there's a good measure of shredding and thrash on there, but there was a good measure of shredding and thrash on the last album as well. I said the Mourn the Southern Skies when it came out. It said it felt like it was their 8th or 9th or 10th album. And everything, it's as if the band had carried on after the Law, and we've just got a bunch of albums that are missing that we've never heard. It's not like they've picked up where they've left off. It's like they've picked up where they would have been had they carried on. And yeah, it just feels pretty much the same, really. So yeah, the album's very varied. There's a lot going on in there. You've got 12 tracks, but sort of 14. Two of the tracks are sort of 2 tracks melded together, so the introduction's sort of melded to the song. We'll get into that when we cross it. So it's 14 tracks in total if you wanted, but it's over 50 minutes long, so this is a good mixed varied album with a lot packed in. So yeah, it's a good addition to the collection, good addition to the catalogue. It's just Exhorder now, the way Kyle obviously envisions he wants Exhorder to be. So yeah, going through the lineup, Kyle is. It looks like he is just doing vocals. Oh no, I've got the wrong album up. Hold on, let's have a look. All right, wrong album. Here we go. So yeah, we've got Kyle is doing vocals and guitar now, with the odd lead here and there, and Pat O'Brien, obviously, formerly Cannibal Corpse. He was in Nevermore before that, and then we got Jason Vierbrooks on bass and Sasha Horn on drums, and they both were in the band previously on the new album anyway. They played on the last album, so it's only really one additional new member, and Kyle's just adopted guitar, and so it opens up with Wrath of Prophecies. Now, Wrath of Prophecies is your standard, what you expect. it's what you want from an album opener. There's a little bit of everything mixed in. You got a good opens up with nice and thrashy, nice big chorus, nice big grooves here and there, nice awesome lead, and it just sets the tone. Then it kicks in with a nice bass intro with Under the Gaslight, or kicks in with a dun 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 dun, you know, and then bam bam bam, and yeah, kicks into the song. Good driving riff on that one. And I guess they keep saying as well that there's a big hardcore influence on that. And like, yeah, here and there, but I don't know what it is about metal bands. They get to a certain point and then they all start insisting that they started out as a hardcore band. I know there was always a hardcore influence, but they they outgrew it pretty quick. They were probably one of those bands that could easily have gigged with a hardcore band, but yeah. It's not as if they've just gone back to their roots and just done a hardcore album. But I can hear a little bit of hardcore. There's a bit of a punky sort of structure in Under the Gaslight. What we next? Forever and Beyond Despair. Again, good thrashy. Got a punky sort of blast. I saw Vinny. I was watching a podcast with him. And he was actually, quite complimentary to the new album. And quite complimentary to Carl. He was classy about it all. And he just said, if you want to hear the new album, if you want to hear agnostic front with blast beats and Phil Anselmo vocals, that's what Exhorder sounds like now. Well, he's obviously not listened to the whole album, but he's probably watched the video because this had a video released for it. And yeah, I kind of get what he's saying on this track anyway. This is agnostic front with blast beats. And, well, let's say Carl's vocals. But yeah, no, it's a good song all round anyway. So yeah, we're getting a good mixture, all round a song to begin with, hitting the ground running with a driving riff of Under the Gaslight. Then we got a thrashy punky song with Forever and Beyond Despair, and then things slowed down on the fourth track, The Tale of Unsound Minds. This one is kind of slow and clean and doomy and kind of bluesy. Carl's vocals on this though are awesome. He hits some high notes on this, and this one really shows what Carl can do with his voice. And he's in a Sabbath tribute group on the side, which just does Dio material, so that tells you something. And obviously, what he's done with Trouble. Unfortunately, he's only recorded one album with him, but he's been doing like live shows with them for ages. So that kind of shows also what he can do. And obviously, he was Alabama Thunder Pussy. It's funny that he went from Exhorder to not doing any more thrash bands. But so that was always incorporated into it anyway. And I think that's what had a big influence on the last album. So, yeah, the whole thing of it as, that one's all southern and groovy. Vinny's gone there, and now we've gone full thrash. That's not the case at all. This is, like I say, this is just as diverse, just as varied as the last album. And there was plenty of thrash and shredding to go around on both. Anyway, I've said that before. But yeah, Carl's vocals, he sounds, he's in the vein of Lane Staley or Scott Weiland or even a bit of Mark Lanigan, I'd go so far as to say. But it's nice and groovy on the bridge to that song. It kicks in pretty good at the end, goes fast, and of course, some blazing solos on there. Divide and Conquer goes back. This is like the palette cleanser. So you've had like 3 fast songs, a nice slow, groovy, bluesy song. Then we cut back into Divide and Conquer. Good catchy chorus. Divide and conquer you. Is there nothing we can do? And yeah, it's just straight to the point, really. Then we got Year of the Goat. I think they did another video for this one. It's another thrasher. So again, you got 3 fast songs, nice slow one, 2 thrashy two thrashy numbers as well to keep the album going. Then we get to 2 songs that are in 2 parts. So no, bear with me. We've got one more track yet. Taken by Flames. That's a good slow groover as well to begin with, and then it kicks in. That's a good one, isn't it? Where the truth was a ruse, and a ruse was a goddamn lie. And yeah. So again, 3 slower track, 3 tracks. Then we get a new slower track. Then we get into the title track. Is it a title track? No, it's not. Yeah, it is. So we got Defectum Omnium. I'll get there in the end. Slash Stolen Hope. So the first is about 3 minutes, and it's like monk chanting. So I can imagine that will be the intro track as the band come out live, and then we go into Stolen Hope, and that starts off kind of goes slow and groovy and bass heavy to begin with. Think Sabbath, nice and doom, like a nice doom number. And yeah, think Acid Bath. Do you remember them? Nice, swampy and groovy and nasty. Good track. Then the next one we got, again, 3 Stages of Youth, which is a really nice acoustic instrumental, but then goes into Lace in the Well. And yeah, this is good, back and forth. It kind of goes, it goes back and forth between nice and groovy and then some good shredding. Like it goes back and forth, swings between the two, but it's got a really big chorus. It's got that sort of bluesy hook to it as well. If you're gonna kill me, be sure to love me. I think that's the words, the lyrics. But yeah, it's good bouncy rhythm, and it's a nice melodic section in the middle of that track as well. So again, you got a mixture of all sorts of stuff going on. Then Sedition. That starts out, those talking about hardcore. Starts out with this like doom 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 bass intro. You're thinking automatically Agnostic Front. You're thinking sick of it all. Yeah, this one I'll give you hardcore, and it kicks into a nice thrashy, and just a really good, energetic, straight to the point. Again, you've had 2 songs now where they've all been atmospheric and dark and clean and melodic and groovy. The songs have gone here, there, and everywhere, and then it hits you with a nice bass heavy or bass leading hardcore punchy track, which is punky punchy, you know what I mean. And then we follow that with another thrashy number, Desensitized. Now if I was in the band, I would say do the main set, and I would do Sedition and Desensitized as the encore. I think Desensitized would be a really good set closer, and it's kind of like this sort of 1-2 punch as the album closer, and then the last song, track number 12, Your 6, is kind of like the epilogue. It's like, so that's the climax, and this is the actual ending. And this again is something like it wouldn't sound out of place on a Down album. Nice and slow, big grooves, amazing vocals on this as well. This song brings to mind what Carl's been doing in his other band. It sounds like a song that would be on Trouble. Like I say, it would be on a Down album, or even Dio for that matter. It's a real good, big, epic closer. And yeah, overall, this is a fantastic album. I was a little apprehensive about the lineup changes. Yes, it does sound a bit different. Like I say, I do think they are missing Vinny in the band, but what they have done with the lineup they have got has more than stood up to the plate and maintained the standard. This sits with the other 3 albums quite nicely. It's a great addition to the short, but quality over quantity and all that. This is only the band's 4th album since the late 80s, but doesn't matter. It is really good. They've pulled it off. So, like I say, Kyle has now got Exhorder, and he's going to take it in this new direction. But I'm happy with this new direction, and I will follow what Vinny is going to do as well. You don't have to take sides. You can like both. Just like the Sabbath. I carried on listening to the Sabbath, and I love Ozzy's solo stuff. You can listen to both. I'd go watch them live again as well. I'm really enjoying this album. And you know what? It took me a while to review this because I wasn't quite ready to review it. I just kept listening to it going, this is interesting. But stuff wasn't... I still hadn't quite made my mind up. I had to take time with this album, and I think that's pretty much... I think this is getting good reviews at the moment, but I can see this is going to be on a lot of people's at the best of the album of the year lists. It's going to be quite high up because it does reward repeated listens. It is a slow burner, but a worthwhile one indeed. So yeah, definitely check out Exhorder's new album. And if you're new to the band, obviously go back and listen to the older albums as well. I keep saying I'm working on it now. I'm I've narrowed it down to about, I'm doing my top 10 thrash albums. I've narrowed it down to about 15. I'm going to have a re-listen of them all and try and tick them off. But Exhorder, classic Exhorder is on there. So there's a little hint, stroke spoiler for you. And yeah, all right, I'm playing catch up now. There'll be new stuff coming out soon this week. Another album review. The final episode of Rushcast is coming. So thanks for everyone. Hello to all the new subscribers. And yeah, have a good week. I'll see you all soon. Bye.